All right.
Back to you, Karen.
Thank you, Joshua. All right, genetic screening. Um, all about genetic testing, research, and many individuals in the community often ask, why do families need genetic screening? Why do we even need to do it? And part of me always believed that it's not necessary for my son. That's just how I feel right now. He'll make that decision as he furthers along his adulthood. For myself, I wanted to know since my father had something. So my parents and myself and my sister, we all participated in the John Ritter research program, that's a research study, and nothing was found. At the time, initially, a VUS or variant of unknown significance was found. Since then, when I went through, initially clinically, I went through GeneDx, and then 7 years later, I went through Invitae, all prescribed by my doctor. That VUS or variant of unknown significance was now assigned a letter number combination, which I believe means somebody else on the planet has this same thing. I don't know if that means we're related, but it's still unknown significance. But now, if more people come up with this same, break, mutation, blemish, mole, whatever it is on their DNA, it will become more significant. And maybe that'll turn into something and tell me why this happened. Now, definitely when that is found, I would probably encourage my son, if he wanted to know, to look into it. But not knowing doesn't mean not monitoring. He's still treated as if he has something. So he will receive scans. He will be told when to have follow up. He knows the rules and, to follow when it comes to weightlifting. It's not about high weight, it's about high repetition, low weight, not straining, all of that. So he's still treated and educated as if there's something, but he's holding off on the genetics. That's just my personal experience. But it can be a little overwhelming. It can be a little complicated. Uh, Making this decision is very personal. Obviously, it's a personal choice. You have to think about it, and talk about it with your family and your physicians. If you go to pages 85 through 89, there is a brief summary, which we can go over now. So in part A of the book, some people have a genetic predisposition to aortic dissection, and this means it can therefore run in your family. If you've had a dissection at a relatively young age, which would be typically age 60, and I had one at 45, so that's considered really young in the scope of things, or if you've had additional findings suggesting that a genetic syndrome might be present, it's particularly important to find out if there's any genetic factors involved and whether any of your relatives could be affected. This is sometimes called genetic screening. Your hospital team or your primary care physician can refer you for genetic counseling and consideration of genetic testing. You might need to travel, not sure, right? A lot of times they send you all these kits in the mail. But if there's no genetic clinics in your area, there are remote genetic counseling services that are also available. During your consultation, experts in genetics will actually take your family history, will discuss your aortic dissection with you. If there's even a cause suspected that has to do with genetic issues, they will arrange for a screening. The plan could involve genetic testing and or imaging. They might suggest imaging, which of course you may or may not have already been having with your physician, CT, MRI, or an echocardiogram for you and or other family members. And this is typically just yourself, your children, siblings, parents, or grandparents. It doesn't go to cousins, aunts, uncles, and stuff like that. For those without a known aneurysm or dissection, it's important to discuss the implications of a positive genetic test or an abnormal imaging test. Like, what will that mean for you if that comes back, especially as it relates to life or disability insurance? And there's a lot of potential factors regarding that. For instance, if you participate in a research program and results come back that say you have something, it's not going to impact your life insurance or your long-term health insurance as of today, because that stuff is all anonymous and your name is not associated with any information that could become public knowledge. But if you go clinical, there's a higher chance that now your physicians are known, they're brought in, they're going to be notified, and now you're going to be rated higher if you're rated to have any life insurance at all. So there's a lot of pros and cons you might want to think about and talk to, your insurance carrier, talk to your physicians, weigh it out with your family members. But you can get a lot more information about this if you download the guide and you check out pages 85 through 89. So that was genetic screening. A lot of information about the genetics in the book.